Hi, if you've been Googling or asking our best friend ChatGPT if you should move to Scottsdale or not, I'm going to give you the top 10 reasons why you should. Now, there are a lot of reasons, but we're just going to stick to the top 10. I am Denise McManus, your Scottsdale real estate advisor. I can't wait to share Scottsdale with you, so let's get into it. Okay, whether you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in the Scottsdale market, let's talk about what everyone wants to know. Let's get right into it. So, one of the top reasons and questions that people have on their mind about Scottsdale is the number that everyone wants to know. What is the average selling price for a house in Scottsdale right now? This number might surprise you, but it's $965,000, and that is up this year almost 10% year over year. And that's a great reason to buy or invest in Scottsdale real estate market right now, with appreciation of almost 10% on an annual basis. And this is an off year. What's not to love about growing your money? All right, question number 2, and this comes up a lot. Is it a good time to buy in Scottsdale? Because we've had so much appreciation over the last few years. People are wanting to know if it's going to continue. Well, if only I had a crystal ball and I could tell you for certain it's going to continue, I would be a gazillionaire. I don't have a crystal ball, but what I can tell you is that we have continued to see appreciation year after year, and that started well before the pandemic years. But now that Arizona is such widely known as a business-friendly state, an incredible friendly state for people to live here with lower taxes, both personal and property taxes, then yes, now's a good time to buy. If it's a good time for you to buy, it's a good time to buy real estate in Scottsdale. Okay, number 3. Now this is a bit subjective because everybody's different, right? Everybody's lifestyle is different, everybody's finances are different, everybody's likes, dislikes, and so on. And that's my job as a great real estate agent, to find out what it is that you as a buyer, seller, investor, what it is that you like and where you want to be. But the question is, what are the best neighborhoods in Scottsdale? All comes down to what I just said. What you think is the best neighborhood, because what I think is the best neighborhood might not fit your lifestyle, might not be exactly what you're looking for. The great thing about Scottsdale is we are as diverse as the population that lives here. So if you like golf course communities, then we have plenty of golf course communities. If you want quiet desert living, we've got plenty of that too. If you want more Old Town, entertainment, walkability, lock and leave, condo living, we've definitely got that in Old Town Scottsdale. So just depending on what you like, we've got a neighborhood for you. But that's why, again, it's really important to work with a great real estate agent who knows Scottsdale, who's lived here a good amount of time, can talk about all the different neighborhoods, the attributes, the things that make that neighborhood a community. That's why it's really important to work with an agent who listens to you, understands what you want, and then can pinpoint, is it McCormick Ranch? Is it Gainey Ranch? Is it Desert Mountain? Is it Pinnacle Peak? Is it Scottsdale Mountain? Is it Old Town Scottsdale? Is it South Scottsdale? There's a neighborhood for everyone, I promise you. So talk to me and I'll guide you through. Okay, question number 4. How long does it take to buy a house in Scottsdale? Well, that kind of depends on you. If you're in a hurry, we can look at inventory and we can find something, and depending on what your financing or cash situation is, we can close in 2 weeks. So, the average people are in escrow and close in about 30 days. But you want to give yourself some time to really look. We're not in a situation in the market currently like we were in the pandemic years where houses were flying off the shelves like toilet paper. We do have inventory to look at, and you want to make sure that you do your due diligence. You, again, want to find the neighborhood that's right for you. You want to find the home that feels right to you. Notice I didn't call it a property because ultimately it's a home for you and for your family. So you want to find the home that makes sense, and you want to make sure that the home that you choose not only fits your lifestyle, but fits your financial considerations as well. So we can close a home in as little as 2 weeks. Normal time is about 30 days. For buyers, I've seen them stretch it out 3 months or 6 months just so they can get comfortable. And sellers, it all depends on what makes sense for you. And I always say this to my sellers, what's your impetus for selling? Are you looking to sell quickly? Are you looking to get the best value? That'll determine how long we're on the market for. The average days on the market right now in Scottsdale at this current time is 58 days on the market. So take that into consideration. That's it for question number 4. Let's move on. All right, question number 5 sort of dovetails with question number 4. And I get asked this question often by my sellers. When is the best time to sell a home in Scottsdale? Well, it used to be we were a very seasonal home market. We were swayed by, the cooler months when the snowbirds or people were coming here to winter, and that really dictated our selling season. We're not so much like that anymore, as Scottsdale has really become a full year-round lifestyle living with intent market. We're seeing that it's not a seasonal market anymore. So the best time to sell for you sellers who are considering selling is when it's the right time for you to sell. Okay, question number 6, and I get this question a lot from especially my Midwestern relocation people coming from the Midwest. They don't have HOAs, and we have a lot of HOAs in Scottsdale. So the question I'm asked is, why all the HOAs? What's with all the gated communities? Is it safe? Why do you have to live behind a gate? It's just what we do here on the West Coast. California has a lot of HOAs. Nevada has a lot of HOAs. Scottsdale has a lot of HOAs. What does HOA mean? It's a homeowners association, and the homeowners within the community are largely responsible by a board voted for by the citizens of the community or homeowners in the community. So the homeowners are responsible for their neighborhood. What does the HOA do? Well, the HOA sets rules and regulations of things you can and can't do within the neighborhood. For example, no RV parking in the street. Maybe sometimes no overnight parking just by cars or guests in the street. Other things like certain plants not allowed in your front yard because they're a fire hazard. It just depends, and each HOA community has its own set of rules and regulations, and those are defined by the CC&Rs. So these are all little acronyms that we have in real estate here and within Scottsdale for our homeowners associations. When you're considering buying a home in an HOA community, you want to make sure that you get a copy of the CC&Rs. You want to be able to review those to know what you can and can't do within the community. Those CC&Rs were voted on and set in place when the community was first built. Really difficult to change the CC&Rs once they're in place, but when you buy into a community, that's why it's really important to review the CC&Rs so that you know what you're getting into. A lot of people say, I don't want to be in an HOA. I don't want to be governed by a group of homeowners, and that's okay. We have plenty of neighborhoods that don't have any HOAs, and that's okay too. Personally, I like an HOA. I like how clean the neighborhood is. I like that knowing that the trash cans have to be in by 5 p.m. and I'm not going to see them sitting out for a week. It all depends on what your likes are and what your likes aren't. Gated neighborhoods are really nice. Again, gives you a sense of protection. It's not because we live in a bad or high crime area. It's just the neighborhood itself is gated. That sometimes gives value to your home. So if you have any questions about your HOAs, make sure you talk to your real estate agent about them. Another question that I'm asked regarding HOAs, how much are they and what do they cover? HOA amounts can range anywhere from as little as $50 a month to $1,500 a month. They cover taking care of landscaping within the community, sometimes the landscaping in the front yard of a home. Also can cover things like insurance on the exterior, property insurance on the exterior of your home. That often happens when you live in a condo community. So again, do your due diligence, check out what your HOA covers, what the CC&Rs entail, then you'll be better educated on whether or not an HOA community is right for you. All right, question number 7. Is Scottsdale a good market for investment properties? Great question. Always a good question to ask when you're considering investing in real estate in any market. And the short answer for Scottsdale is yes, it is. There are two types of investment properties here that really make sense. Obviously, there's long-term and then there's short-term rentals. And I do full-on detailed spreadsheets with charts and graphs on a rate of return, cap rate, equity growth on 5-year, 7-year, 10-year, 20-year holds for people as a routine if I'm working with investor clients, because it's really good to understand the full investment. Is Scottsdale good for investment properties? It is. You've got to be able to buy the home or the property at the right price to make sure that it cash flows, so that if you're looking for cash on cash return or monthly cash flow, that's really critical. If monthly cash flow isn't your biggest objective, if the long-term equity play is a stronger objective for you, then it becomes a different conversation and you open up yourself to different types of properties. So again, important to work with a real estate advisor who understands investment properties, investment real estate, so you can really analyze the whole picture. Short-term answer, yes, Scottsdale is a great property investment real estate market. All right, a question I get asked all the time on a daily basis: how does Scottsdale compare with neighboring cities, right? Because Scottsdale is a suburb of Phoenix in the Valley of the Sun. So we have a lot of different neighboring suburbs all around Phoenix. Phoenix is now the 5th largest metropolitan area in the United States and growing. Our population is in the upper 7 millions, almost getting ready to top out at 8 million. So there's a lot of different suburbs that you can compare to Scottsdale. You've got Cave Creek, which is just north of Scottsdale. Median values there are about $1 million. You've got Glendale on the west side. Median values there are in the 600,000. Mesa, Tempe, Old Town Scottsdale. It just depends on what you're looking for. So each one of those suburbs gives you a different vibe and a different lifestyle. Again, looking at what makes sense to you in terms of lifestyle, budgetary concerns, reality. Bottom line though, if you want the Scottsdale lifestyle, you won't get that in any one of the other suburbs. We've got entertainment, nightlife, restaurants, shopping. Everything is beautiful in Scottsdale, and there's no substitute for that. All right, question number 9, and this isn't necessarily in any particular order. That's right, 9. What about the heat? Is it really that hot in Scottsdale? Dude, yeah, it is. We live in the desert. There's no question. Heat tops out here in the summer, 110, 115. Don't worry, we have air conditioning, we have pools. So if heat is a factor that you're worried about, before people move here, I suggest you really come spend a summer here. You do get used to it. And dry heat honestly does make a difference. And I'm giving you the truth because buyers deserve full transparency. It gets hot. You know, that's what we're known for. We're known for our weather and our 360 days of sunshine. So yeah, it does get hot. The things you can prepare for are higher utility bills in the summer. You're gonna wanna run the AC, but it's no different than people who live in the Northeast or in the Midwest, and their heat bills are high in the winter. So I guarantee you, we can always cool down. There's no question. One factor that keeps circulating in the media a lot is that data is suggesting that we're only gonna get hotter here over the next 30 years. Maybe, but that same data is suggesting that those cold climate states, it's only gonna get colder there, and I would rather live in the heat, frankly, but everybody has to make that decision. So just know that. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It does get hot, but we enjoy our outdoor lifestyle 12 months a year, and it's here waiting for you too. You know, another thing I want to say about the heat, and this isn't just cliche, it is a dry heat, and we talk about that and we joke about it. But having lived in climates that are 90% humidity, and my pores were always clogged, my hair was always out of control. Not that I don't mind a humid curl, it kind of looks nice, but it's just you can't be outside without dripping wet and your shirt sticking to you because you're just wet with humidity. We don't have that here. So you have to decide, do you prefer a humid summer with mosquitoes and lots of bugs, or do you prefer just dry heat where it's just a nice, calm, and there's a breeze out today. I'm looking outside the windows here. It's probably 90 degrees today, breezy. To me, it doesn't get any better than that. And you can be on the golf course year round and not break a sweat. You might get hot, but you're not gonna break a sweat. All right, last one, and this is number 10. It's not in any particular order, but these are the top 10 questions I get asked regularly. And so number 10 is really important. And again, being very honest and transparent, I'm just breaking it down for you, but I do get asked this question: do I really need a real estate agent to buy a house in Scottsdale? Well, technically the answer is no, but you're about to enter into one of the largest financial transactions of your life, right? So do you really want to represent yourself when maybe you don't know all of the rules and laws and regulations around real estate? And if you do represent yourself, where are you going to get the legal documents from? It's like the old adage, how's that go? The attorney who represents himself in court has a fool for an attorney, something like that. So I'm not saying it's foolish to represent yourself. What I'm saying is it's incredibly smart to have a licensed, experienced real estate agent represent you. They know the local rules and regulations. They know the stopgaps and the timelines to keep you safe and keep your transaction secure. They're gonna represent you with full fiduciary responsibility. It makes sense to work with a real estate agent you can trust, that you feel good about, and who knows the regulations inside and out. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. We can go through an interview process to see if I'm the right person for you. And if I'm not, then I'm happy to recommend somebody else, and you can interview the next person or the next person until you find somebody that feels good to you and that you feel that you can work with. But I would say do not go into a real estate transaction unrepresented. It's not in your best interest. So those are my top 10 questions I get asked regularly. You can put any of these questions into ChatGPT or Claude, see if they agree with me or not. You can also schedule a no cost, no obligation 15-20 minute phone conversation with me. I'll be sure and walk you through all of these, and again, always give you my honest opinion. Make sure you watch my channel for additional information, subscribe. You'll get a notification every time I post a new video. So happy you spent time with me today on these top 10 questions. I'll see you next time.